They won't say it to your face, but the world thinks you're done. If you didn't make it by 30, you probably never will. They call it realism. It's quiet condemnation. And somewhere along the way, you started believing it. You watch people younger than you rise, go viral, get rich, get seen. And deep down you wonder if your moment slipped away without making a sound. You don't say it out loud. You feel it when Instagram opens. When someone asks, "So what are you up to these days?" There's a kind of shame that doesn't scream. It sits in your chest and whispers, "I should have figured it out by now." But what if you're not late? What if you were lied to? What if you haven't been failing? You've been forging. Here's the truth they never say. The fire that burns hottest takes the longest to ignite. Early success looks shiny, but it's often hollow. You've been learning what no book can teach: resilience, depth, pattern recognition, silence. The world worships youth because it's loud, but late bloomers change everything quietly, deliberately, permanently. You're not behind, you're becoming. After 40, something shifts. You stop chasing praise and start building legacy. Maybe the delay was protection. You weren't meant to rise when your ego was fragile. You were meant to rise when your roots were deep. The world measures with clocks. Clocks don't measure awareness. If you've ever looked in the mirror and felt that ache, something in me is still waiting. This is your answer. It's not time to catch up. It's time to arrive. There's a lie repeated softly until it becomes law. You should have figured it out by now. You're too old to start. That ship has sailed. You hear it at dinner tables in hiring rubrics and how people say he's still chasing that, like ambition has an expiration date. It's baked into Hollywood, into job posts coded for youth, into tech's obsession with 20-year-old legends. If you didn't succeed by 30, you're late. If you're over 40 and still evolving, they don't see strength. They see delusion with a smile. Ask the real question. Who decided life peaks in youth? Who decreed your sharpest insights must arrive before your brain even fully matures? It's fiction packaged as fact. We bought it because when you're young, speed feels like success, hype looks like greatness, spotlight feels like proof. So we sprinted, not to build something real but to match someone else's timeline. That sprint wasn't success. It was fear of being left behind, of being the only one still unsure, still invisible, still building. Here's the truth that cuts through the script. You didn't fail. You were misled. The danger was never moving slowly. It was believing speed equals worth. That belief was programmed one repetition at a time until it became autopilot. That voice saying, "It's too late," isn't intuition. It's residue, a leftover from a culture that confuses youth with value. Look closer at early wins. Youth brings energy, yes, confidence sometimes, but also inexperience, fragile identity, dependence on praise. Early success is often a house on sand, self-worth glued to applause, hustle as performance, not purpose. People who win fast often burn out faster because they built for attention, not meaning. And yet, here you are. Maybe slower, maybe doubting, but still here, still asking, is it really over or is there something in me worth building? Yes, but you have to destroy the timeline you were handed. You're not late. You're done following someone else's clock. That isn't failure, it's freedom. Reject the lie and you reclaim this truth. Many of the most powerful lives start at 20. They begin at 47, 58, 63. Not in a dorm room, but in a quiet evening when you finally say, "I'm not done. I'm just getting started." From that moment, everything changes. If youth is the peak, why do so many crash right after they make it? Because success arriving before identity builds a life that doesn't fit. You perform. You please. You run fast without direction. When applause fades, so do you. That's not power. That's panic in a nice suit. Late bloomers are different. They've tasted silence, survived invisibility. They don't build for attention, they build for depth. Their power isn't loud, So at first, the world can't see them. Look closer, and you'll find 3 advantages. Pattern recognition. After 40, you see what's real. Mistakes become maps. You read rooms, people, energy. Resilience. Youth shatters at rejection. You've been rejected and returned. That's calloused courage. Clarity over ego. You no longer need to prove. You want to build. Your clarity comes from refinement, not adrenaline. This level of clarity rarely happens in your 20s. Back then, you wore masks handed to you by parents, peers, platforms. In the second half of life, when the mask cracks, your real self steps forward. When youth burns out, awareness ignites. From that fire, something sacred is born. Authenticity. Success without suffering breeds entitlement. Success after failure builds humility. One craves attention, the other craves substance. In a world drowning in surface-level victory, the quiet builder becomes unshakable. Now bring it home. The battle isn't out there, it's in here. Your mind isn't your enemy, but it will obey your worst voice unless you retrain it. Most think the struggle is external. Money, time, opportunity. The real enemy is the script you repeat. I'm too old. It's not realistic anymore. Maybe if I'd started sooner. They sound mature. They're weapons, aimed inward. Every sentence you say to yourself becomes a command. Your subconscious doesn't argue, it executes. Yes, how people live the same year 40 times and call it a life. The programming never changed, so you change it. At first, new thoughts feel fake. They should. You'll say, I am ready, I am wise, I am capable. A voice will snicker, sure you are. Feeling fake isn't delusion, it's unfamiliarity. You're not lying, you're leading. You're not pretending, you're rehearsing. Every powerful identity starts as practice. Every powerful belief begins with resistance. Old script. I'm too late. No one will take me seriously. There's no time left. New script. I'm not late, I'm on time. My scars are experience. My delays are depth. I'm not behind, I'm prepared. You don't have to believe it fully yet. Repeat it daily, deliberately, even if your voice shakes. Eventually, the old self gets tired. It stops arguing. That's when the new self takes the wheel, and when it does, there won't be fireworks, no applause. Change arrives quietly, one decision at a time. One morning you rise despite the wait. One no to comfortable stagnation. One yes to uncomfortable growth. Then, one day, the silence inside you sounds different. It doesn't mock you. It mirrors you. It doesn't pull you back. It prepares you forward. That's the signal. The shift has begun. Say the line out loud and mean it, even if only for a second. I'm not late. I'm arriving. There's a moment in every real transformation nobody prepares you for. It isn't cinematic. It isn't shareable. It doesn't trend. It's the space where you've let go of who you were, but haven't yet become who you're meant to be. Identity limbo. The season of invisibility. No titles, no certainty, no applause. You're no longer fueled by old dreams, but the new ones aren't clear yet. You're no longer accepted by the old crowd, but you haven't found your people either. Many give up here, not because they're weak, but because they mistake being undefined for being lost. You're not lost. You're being rewritten. Rewriting requires stillness. It requires becoming unfamiliar to yourself. Think of a seed underground. No light, no recognition, no validation. Yet beneath the surface, everything is changing. Roots form. Structure takes shape. Identity is forged where no one can see it. This isn't a breakdown. It's a remodel. In the silence, you'll feel the pull to look sideways, to scroll, to compare your uncertainty to someone else's highlight reel. You'll see younger people rise fast, old friends who figured it out, people miles ahead, and you'll wonder, what's wrong with me? Why is it taking so long? Remember, they're not ahead, they're loud. Loud isn't deep. Loud isn't wise. Loud isn't lasting. Study the pattern. The ones who changed everything disappeared first. They went quiet. They were forgotten, mocked, misunderstood. Then they returned, Different, clear, untouchable. They didn't come back as improved versions of who they were. They came back unrecognizable. So will you, if you endure the silence. Here's how you make the turn. 3 arenas decide whether you become unrecognizable: identity, environment, and execution. Identity. Rewrite the code. Your life runs on scripts, many you didn't write. They were installed by repetition, often by people who cared about you but lived small. If you don't rewrite the code, you'll rehearse the same year on repeat. Start with language. Move from self-critique to self-command. Old script. I'm too old. It's unrealistic. Maybe if I'd started sooner. New script. I'm on time. I build with depth. My pace is precision. Say it even if your voice shakes. You're not lying, you're leading. Your subconscious follows repetition, not charisma. Pair words with action. Each time you complete a small, hard task, repeat the new line. That welds belief to behavior. Thought alone evaporates. Action alone burns out. The weld creates identity. Name your archetype, not a job title, an essence. Builder, strategist, teacher, artist, operator. Choose one. Write 3 proof behaviors that embody it. If you choose builder, ship 1 meaningful output daily, document process weekly, refine 1 system every Friday. Track streaks, not moods. Confidence is a receipt, earned by visible proof, not invisible hope. Accept grief as part of identity work. You must bury a version of you that got you here but can't take you further. The persona built for approval kept you safe. Honor it and release it. As long as you cling to the ghost of who you should have been by 28, you'll sabotage who you can still become at 48. Environment. Upgrade the room, or it will downgrade you. You can reprogram your self-talk every morning and still collapse by noon if you return to a room that speaks limitation. Environment beats willpower. Always. The trap is that toxic rarely looks toxic. It feels like comfort, familiar routines, old jokes, soft voices saying, "At our age, that's risky." Be realistic. You should be grateful. Those aren't opinions. They're infections delivered gently enough to slip past your defenses. You don't need to vanish or cut everyone off. Become a gatekeeper of energy. Boundaries aren't cruelty. They're clarity. I care about you, but I can't afford your influence right now. Replace conversations that rehearse regret with rooms that rehearse expansion. Curate inputs like you curate investments. Make 3 decisive swaps. Media diet. Subtract 1 hour of scrolling. Add 30 minutes of long-form reading and 30 minutes of silent thinking. Depth is a muscle. People diet. 1 monthly conversation with someone operating at a higher level. 1 weekly check-in with a peer who is building, not complaining. Space diet. Redesign your workstation in an afternoon. Remove visual clutter. Put your plan on the wall. Make the next action obvious and frictionless. If the environment shapes you, and it does, shape it back. Execution. Build like a pro, not a performer. Performers chase attention. Pros build systems. Pros win because they create repeatable pipelines that produce output regardless of mood. Simplify. 1 stream, 1 offer, 1 channel. Consistency is king. Complexity is a trap. Adopt a simple cadence. Daily. 1 non-negotiable that moves the mission. Ship 1 tangible thing. Weekly. 1 review. What worked, what didn't, what to change. Monthly. 1 experiment. New distribution, new positioning, new partner. Track outputs, not hours. Hours measure effort. Outputs measure progress. Progress compounds into momentum. Momentum beats motivation. Expect resistance. When you change, your nervous system equates unfamiliar with unsafe. Teach it otherwise through repetition. Small wins, repeated often, become safety. Safety becomes stride. Stride becomes identity. Watch for nostalgia. It arrives as warmth but anchors you to a version of yourself that never truly fit. You don't miss the past. You miss the innocence of believing without shame. Believe again, this time with evidence. Build receipts. Let results replace approval. Adopt the vow that shifts everything. No more building for applause. Only building for alignment. Alignment is when the inside matches the outside. Your work reflects your values. Your schedule reflects your priorities. Your voice reflects your truth. Alignment doesn't make life easier. It makes it coherent. Coherence is fuel. 3 rules for late bloomers. Move in silence. Let the work speak. Announcements drain power. Reveals deliver it. Choose timeless over trending. Depth compounds. Hype decays. Trade velocity for trajectory. Speed is how fast you move. Trajectory is where you're headed. Choose direction over adrenaline. If you're quiet right now, off the radar, unseen, good. Stay there. Let the silence be your strategy. Let doubts build pressure. Let the inner work harden your standards, steady your pace, sharpen your aim. When you return, don't come back improved. Come back different. Different enough that even you don't recognize who you were before. Your story doesn't end in obscurity. It begins there. You're not late. You're refined. You're not old. You're initiated. The fire that took longer to light burns hotter, wiser, longer. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs what you're about to build. Calm, durable, unmistakably yours. Arrive. Not to be seen, but to withstand. Not to catch up, but to redefine the standard. Not to prove, but to build. And when the room that once shrank you feels too small, don't explain. Don't apologize. Just rise. Quietly, completely, unavoidably.